Jellyfish, Imperial Drag, you name it. He's been everywhere in music for the last 20 plus years. So thank you so much for being here today, Eric. I am delighted to have you.
Oh, hello, Ashley. How are you? Very good to be here with you.
So good. Yes, we met 5 years ago at a Lost Angels gig in South End, and it was like a friendship was born, and it just, 5 years later, here we are.
Isn't it crazy that 5 years have passed and we've been chatting the whole time since then,
Yes.
just connecting on music and food and, fine drink and whatnot.
Food. Oh yeah, and this food. I'm like, oh, I'm cooking something cool. You know who would like to see this? Eric, because
That's right.
You always like. I love it because you're always at the coolest restaurants. You're always eating the coolest foods, and I'm like, oh man, this is what I cooked today, or I ate this, or whatever.
Well, it's people like us with refined palates. We have to be foodies now and again. Talk about something other than music.
Yeah, that's true. Like gin. That's the other good topic. I am delighted that you're here. It's it's been amazing. I don't know, especially going through lockdown, and then now we're getting back to getting all music out. And you had the Lickerish Quartet throughout lockdown, and I still look back and I'm like, I think that was honestly a savior to so many people out there. And I mean, I still think not enough people heard it, but it was a savior to a ton of people. They found hope in it, I think.
I'm glad you felt that way. It did really connect with a lot of people during that time, that dark time. There was the first single that we released, Lighthouse Spaceship. I think pretty much summed up the times we were living in, and just trying to reach out to people that might not be having a good time of it, so to speak. The song seemed to suit that kind of mood, so we're extremely grateful that the record was even received as well as it was.
Yeah, no, and I mean it was, but I saw so many people like covering it online, Lighthouse Spaceship especially. So many people covering it. People like everybody they really clung to it, and that's the word, right? They clung, yeah. and I don't know, they love it, and I don't know, just makes me all just thinking about it because it's just so great. And it's interesting because people I talk to often tell me that you are their favorite songwriter of all time.
No way. I'm just a little old guy with a guitar from Alabama originally. I didn't even come with a banjo. That's how cheap I was. But
I think you're better with the guitar, but
Well, it warms my heart. I've been writing now since I was basically around 11 years old. So if a few of those songs hit people and move them, then it's worth it to me. I don't always bat 1,000, but it's just nice that people still pay attention after all this time.
Yeah, it's amazing though, because if your name comes up in conversation, people are truly like, oh my God, I love him. And so so it's like maybe you don't know that, so I'm telling you right now.
Well, thank you. That's extremely gratifying to know. I mean, I think as a musician, we put our head in our music and don't peek out very much, and so it's nice to know that when you do, that somebody is there being appreciative and loving what you do, because that's what I intend to keep doing more of it.
Good. We're all happy. And well, okay, I want to get obviously into like songwriting and everything else, but I just want to touch on it really quick because you we're not sure when yet, but you do have some new music coming out as Sextus. Yeah. And I have heard it, and I am telling you, you need to keep your eye out for it, because it is like, I'm listening to it going like, my ears are so happy listening to it. It makes my brain happy. And I think that's one thing I really like about your songwriting, is because it's all your songs, the lyrics, everything is very complex. And, you told me once that you really work to compose a song and not just like slap it together. And it comes through, especially when you get time to do a deep listen to stuff that you've put out.
Well, yeah, thank you. You're really just trying, or at least for what I'm trying to do with Sextus, it's been my solo project for over 20 years. I think I started it in 1999, and originally it was going to be, well, originally it was like a 6-piece group, hence the name
Right.
Sextus. But it's pretty much my little baby. So I get to do what I want, and I don't have to pay attention to any trends or genres. And that suits me fine, because I do tend to have a strange attention span. Like 1 minute I'll be listening to pop music, and the next minute experimental music or jazz, or you name it, because I'm a big fan of pretty much every kind of music. So and you also want to make music that people would like to listen to a few more times, not only for the dopamine rush, but just to hear the different musicalities that I'm trying to inject in my music.
Yes. And trust me, there's a lot. I mean, that I can hear, and obviously you know that. I'm telling everybody else out there. It's something very, very special that you put out, and I am not just saying that because we're friends. It's like, it is special, very special.
Well, as my grandma would have said, that plum tickles my heart. It does. It really does.
I'm glad. Good. And so I think I'm just telling you the things that's on everybody's mind. So so that's what we're doing today. So I mean, there's probably other things that are on other people's minds, but
Well, there's a lot going on in the music world too, in that it changes so fast. If you pay attention to what's going on in the industry, things are changing so fast. It's a crazy time to be alive. It's one of the best times for music, and it's also has its own challenges.
Do you think about that? Like, okay, when you were releasing stuff in the 90s or whatever, do you kind of wish that it was more like then, or a hybrid of the two, or like, what do you think as an artist? Like, and you've been around long enough to say, right? So
I think that in the 90s, it was a lot harder in a lot of ways to get your music out. So with streaming and the way that things are set up now, it is easier than ever. You can go on a streaming platform, and basically all the music in the world is right there at your fingertips. And that's a beautiful thing. That's good for people that listen to music. But the challenge that it brings to me as an artist is the needle in the haystack theory. And plus there's something like 40,000 songs released every day now, because
on Spotify, yeah, it's like 42,000.
42,000, yeah. So you're a needle in a haystack, and so promoting yourself is vitally important, and creating engaging stories and dare I say it, content around the music. It's more important than ever. I think my problem is I'm a bit more of a music head, so I don't really have a lot of time to be in front of a camera and show you how I could solve a Rubik's cube, or show you D major 7, into 6/9 chords, whatever. I mean, so that's a challenge for me. I know it probably is for a lot of people. But maybe if I get
hear
like
that all the time.
if I get a good gimmick going, maybe that's what I need. Like a big handlebar fake mustache, or I haven't really worked that out yet. Elf ears. I mean,
I think maybe do the elf ears before you do the mustache.
okay, yeah, sure. I'll
Yeah.
try that.
Yeah.
Not everybody is as lucky as David Bowie was to have 2 different colored eyes. I mean, that's the
He
greatest.
was incredibly, like he was magical in just so many ways. Like,
Right. Yeah, he was an artist in every respect, like so many that we love and adore. But the 2 colored eyes, I mean, it's like winning the lottery.
It's true. Sorry, you couldn't have that. I mean, you could get contacts, I guess.
Now you can do anything, really.
It's true, but it's funny though, because I do hear from a lot of bands that creating content is like the bane of their existence. It's like, they're like, everything is perfect except if I didn't have that full-time job of content creation. And like, yeah, it's a lot. It's a heavy load.
It is. I mean, I see people like yourself that are doing podcasts and or creators on YouTube, and the work that they put into that is extraordinary. And I'm sure it's rewarding to them personally and monetarily, but with the kind of music that I'm making anyway, I don't really consider that it's going to be something that's going to be on the radio, on your terrestrial radio station, especially being an independent. But I don't mind getting on and talking about music and talking about my music, or sharing camaraderie in that manner. But I have to work out, how drums are going to sound, or what kind of bridge am I going to write to this song, or that usually occupies my brain a lot more than, hey, I'm going to get on here and juggle, which I can't do. So
yeah, I mean, maybe that could be your thing, like you trying to juggle.
I could do cat juggling like Steve Martin.
Okay, well, the cats do love you.
I have 2 here, and I could probably juggle them. I don't know. I'll have to ask them.
Yeah, I don't know if they would want to be juggled. Maybe just videos of you like petting them, like, Meh. I think that might go down well, and like not so dangerous.
Right, and feed them treats. That's all they care about.
Yes, of course.
Not their father.
I can't say the word. I've got the dog behind me, so I can't say the secret word. But
no, don't say the secret word.
Those, exactly. Then, because he's sleeping peacefully. So some of these songs that you have coming out, like you've been working on some of them for a long time, right? Like,
yeah. Well, they range in
years.
A few of them are a few years old, and then some of them are newer. But that's sort of the way that I work anyway. Like because I've been constantly writing for years, and I just file things away, and then decide if I want to finish it or not. It's a bit like a sickness, really. You have to kind of stop yourself every once in a while and go, why don't you finish these songs that you've already kind of started? And that's kind of my process for completing songs anyway.
Yeah, but I mean it's a good thing though, and I also think like your songs, they're not. I don't know. Does it make sense? They're not stuck in time. Like you don't. you hear songs, okay, talking about like, I got the latest flip phone, or, chatting up my man on ICQ. Like, okay, when was this written? We know, right? But, and so like, I think that is one cool thing, because you just like transcend time. It's nice to see, though, there's longevity in what you do, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, thank you. I mean, I always having been writing, some for a very long time. Um, I've written about all kinds of subject matter, like everything from psycho killers to just all kinds of weirdness. But I think the best songs to me are still the ones that are more or less have an interpersonal nature to them. Um, so that does involve kind of putting out some real thoughts and feelings about that. I have love songs. I have hate songs. I mean, I try to make, but I also try to think in a dramatic tone as well, because I think good music oftentimes lyrically is kind of can be fucked up, or it can be very innocuous, and it can be subversive in that way too. I think the best thing to do is really just not paint yourself into a corner either. It's about
Yeah,
being free as well.
I think so. I like to write, and I have done since forever, but sometimes I stop, and I think it's because I get scared of what I'm going to say to see it on paper, if that makes sense. Like, how do you get over that? Or maybe I'm just scared, like, what if this sucks when I write it down? Like, how do you get over that? Have you ever had that issue?
I do all the time because I try to choose my words carefully and not speak in contractions and do a lot of likes and wells, and you see, you'll read your favorite interview with you'll read an interview with somebody really famous that you respect, that's incredibly well spoken, and you're like, oh, see, I'm an idiot, you know. This guy's using like 4-syllable words and like toadies and sarcasm, and here I am just kind of bumbling over myself. But eventually, as long as you're just being aware and paying attention, say what's on your mind, then what does it matter?
That's true. I guess as long as you're not hurting people, yeah, doesn't matter.
Right.
It's, I keep saying to myself, like, yeah, today I'm going to sit down and I have all this stuff flowing around in my head, and I'm like, okay, today's the day. And then I don't do it because I like talk myself out of it sometimes. And it's kind of silly, but I'm going to get there one day.
Well, you have a super ego. The super ego part of the self is the part of the self that's worried about what everyone else thinks, and are you going to fail? It is a voice inside of your head that says, "Oh, you can't do this. It's not going to go anywhere. You're going to upset people," and you have to press on through something like that, because your intentions are good. So uh, yeah, that's where believing in yourself and your abilities is important. Because everybody's going to have voices of self-doubt. But and then sometimes it just takes a couple of days. You get up and like, I'm
Yeah.
going to do it. But I have false starts too, where, oh, I'm going to do this. And then I wake up and I'm like, not in the mood to do it. Or, there's doubts. But it really is kind of one day at a time with any of this stuff. Um, I'll be working on a song and come to an impasse, and it'll just bug the shit
Mhm.
out of me. Like, how in the hell am I going to finish this song? Sometimes sleeping on it is the best thing you can do, because your brain sort of is working while you're asleep as well. And then you just wake up one day and like, oh, well, that's the answer. So you're doing a little bit of an exercise, a mental exercise with any of this stuff.
Did you ever have a song come to you in your sleep? You woke up and wrote it down?
I have some amazing bangers going on in my head, especially in dreams. But it's kind of rare that that I'll wake up and write it down. I should. I'll even get up and be singing it after I wake up. But yeah, that's something I should try to do, actually.
It's like, I don't know. I have a couple, I don't know, I think like 3 kind of just little hooky pieces of songs that honestly have been in there for like probably 20 years, maybe not quite, somewhere between 10 to 20 years. And I'm like, one day we're going to build those out into something, but at least they're still there. So that's the plus.
Yeah, they're perennial favorites, if you will. But
yes,
I think anytime you have a song in your heart or in your head, if you can get it out and at least have it for posterity, it's worth doing. That's why I'm so addicted to recording music. It's a bit of a time capsule and a document of where you're at in your life at the time.
Yeah.
And you may not appreciate it when you're doing it or even when it's done, but a little while will go by and then you're like, oh, I'm glad I did that. A little something of beauty.
Yes. Would you write something today about maybe an experience that you had, 10, 20, 30 years ago or whatever? Would you go to the past? Would you like write about the potential future? Like, do you jump around in timelines, I guess, when they're so personal? Or take concepts even from the past and apply them today?
What I do is I tend to, as I've gotten older, when I was young, everything was about the 5 senses and what I would learn by touching a hot stove. But as you grow older and kind of going down your path of songwriting, you shift focus into all sorts of different areas. Sometimes you can think about something from the past. Sometimes you can think about something from the future, a dystopian future or something like that. I mean, it can go interpersonal. It just can take more facets because I've tended to kind of take myself out of the process, my personal thoughts. Like now I'm trying to write in a way that maybe I feel people will relate with, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's happened to me, if you know what I mean.
Yes. And that is really interesting though, and I guess that's like, it is something that I'm always curious about, right? Writing from perspective of another person, imagining, I don't know, let's go with it. Imagining yourself as a cat, who knows, right? And I think it is a really useful tool in developing your skills, right? As you go along. And so it's interesting to me that you do it.
Well, I mean, I even look at some of my favorite songwriters. You could take Kate Bush, for example. I've always been a pretty huge Kate Bush fan. And she was one of the first, I think, that kind of showed me that you can write from another perspective. She has a song called Pull Out the Pen, which is about a Japanese soldier. And just like, how does somebody bridge that gap? And I always admired people that could think kind of askew in that way.
Yeah, but it seems to me like you do that though. I don't know, maybe
Oh, I try
bring in
to, yeah.
crazy, but
We
you do.
even on the Lickerish Quartet, we had challenges about, they all can't be like one feeling. They all have to have their own uh, special sauce, And between all three of us being lyric writers, we had to find that together. And ultimately it was very rewarding, but um, they're not all really kind of one thing, basically. They speak on different platitudes, I guess.
Yeah, no, and that I think that's very, very apparent too. It's very
I've got some
interesting to
naughty
me.
songs too.
Oh, have you?
Well, yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, I mean, well, a part of it for me too is you're always you're always writing to make your loved ones, your family, your friends laugh. I mean, that's been going on the whole time as well. But
Yes.
every once in a while, I try to show that side of what I'm doing as well. But it's goes back to that whole argument: does humor belong in music? I happen to think it does, but uh, people,
I think
they can tend not to take you as serious for whatever reason as well. So I sometimes you'll see it, sometimes you won't.
I don't know. I think it does. Maybe like unless you're Weird Al, like maybe it's not your whole thing, but why I just don't understand why it wouldn't belong in music, you know?
It's interesting um, because I've been on a Ruddles kick lately, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Ruddles, but they're you just go down that rabbit hole. And
Okay, I'm going to do that later.
they were basically a parody of the Beatles, um,
Right.
and so everyone would look at it kind of like the original Weird Al, basically. But you go back and listen to those songs, and even though they're done as parody, they kind of hit you in some feelings. Some of the songs too, and I really love it when you get something you weren't expecting out of a song. And some of the Ruddle songs are
Yes.
beautiful.
Okay, I need to go check it. I'm like, I feel like I've heard some, but I'm like, no bells are going off right now. So I definitely have to check it.
Yeah, I won't
It's,
even tell you a song title. You just kind of um, go down that one because it's well worth
clicking.
a good path to go down.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do that. So you've been like performing live since you were a teenager too, right? Or later,
Yeah, pretty
or
much.
like pretty much since you started, right?
Pretty much since I started. I mean, I was lucky to know early on in life that I wanted to be a musician. Um, 'Cause I had an older sister who would bring home records, and I would absorb them like a sponge. And uh, about the time I turned 11, it was on. It was going to be serious, and I would practice for millions of hours every spare second that I could. It's amazing that I graduated high school. Really, in a way, I was so fixated on playing guitar and being in a band and all that. I made it, but
And it's great that you always had that resolve within you that you would be a musician. And did you ever have like a backup plan? Or do you just say, no, fuck it, I'm here?
well, a lot of
It's
people would go, "You idiot!" But no, I didn't. It just seemed like to be. I wanted to go as naturally as I could in life, and it be the simplest thing with as few moving parts as possible. I still managed to make my life complicated at times, but the one thing that's
don't we
never been
all?
complicated is my love for music and playing it, performing it, and and writing it. Um, that hasn't diminished one bit.
Do you think it's gotten stronger over the years too in some ways?
Uh, it's always been about the same.
But changes.
It's always been pretty
Yeah.
consistent. Like when I was around 20 years old, I would try to write a song a day. Um,
Oh.
those days don't really happen too much anymore because uh, I've learned more, so I'm more specific in what I want to write. But that fascination with uh, trying to make something is stayed pretty much the same.
Oh, I love that. And I always think too, it's like about kind of letting yourself experiment and kind of, I mean, even before you're saying just being free to do all that, to experiment, to try new things, so important.
Oh, you absolutely have to. You have to learn how to make mistakes and be fine with it. Um, you learn a lot about yourself when you're doing uh, when you're writing music, um, because you also see how you can get in your own way, which I've done. I mean, if you want to name a mistake, I've probably made it before, but uh, it's all in that relentless search. Sometimes I'll just sit down and go, "What am I going to do?" with no thought in my head and get some of the best results that I've ever had. Something completely unexpected and different, and you are looking for that. It's a dopamine rush.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely it is. I, you know, I told you before, but when I see you performing, you like sparkle, and not just because you're wearing glitter, but you you just like you exude so much joy. You can I and I'm being honest when I say I've never seen it in anybody else. Not that I've seen everybody, but I've been to a lot of shows. I've never seen it in anybody else. It's like this passion that it just shows everywhere in everything, and it's like euphoric. That's how you appear on stage.
Thank you. I feel generally euphoric. I mean, uh, there are times when that is well, the stage is always your place. That's where you're home the most. And then the outside world is a whole different story. Um, I've never felt alienated from being on stage. I felt alienated from not being on stage, but um, I'll still go to a show and watch someone and appreciate what they're doing. But sometimes when
Yeah.
you could have all the problems in the world going on in your personal life, but when you step on stage, all that goes away for the hour and a half, whatever you're up there. Um, so yeah, it's a special sacred spot, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it is easy to tell. And it's like, I know if you get a chance to see you live, then not if you see yourself every day. I'm talking listeners. If you get a chance to see Eric perform, you need to go. You need to go because it's worth it. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. You light up a place. So good work, I guess.
Well, thank you. As long as they'll have me, I'll keep doing it.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to be kicked off of any stages anytime soon. I hope not. I don't think so.
Good.
But if you had one piece of advice for new artists, what would it be?
I think that for a serious artist, uh, somebody that kind of wants to dedicate their life to doing this, you have to be open starting out, and you have to really go for any opportunities that are thrown your way and try to make the most of them. Especially when you're a bit younger, you need to get out and meet people, meet different players, get different perspectives. Um, if it wasn't for some of my friends growing up, I would have never been exposed to kind of music that I eventually got into. So I think being open and having some sort of acumen about how the business works. A lot of musicians are not very good at business, but it's good to know these things. You want to,
especially now. I think you have to.
Right, and I think a lot of the younger generation's a lot more savvy than in my day, because everyone is basically their own record company and individual promoter and all that, and the internet too. As I've seen different creators, they'll post something and then you get a copyright strike on it, and you're like, what in the hell's going on? So yeah, learning how to protect yourself is in this day and age is paramount. You just have to do it. So and I think another thing too for younger people is don't bury your face in comment sections. I mean, if you raise your face above the crowd, somebody's going to throw a brick at it. That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
So you have to have a healthy perspective and not let it get to you personally. And that's it. And just rock and do all the rest that you love.
It's I think you're spot on. I mean, I am not a musician, but I do work with musicians, so I do think that it's 100% spot on.
Yeah, I mean, musicians are sensitive people, so it's impossible not to let some of it get to you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten to me before too, when I was a lot younger, before I kind of, a certain part of me now just doesn't really care. I'm going to keep doing what I do anyway, so.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just even seeing articles about anything, and if I read the comments, I'm like, wow, people are mean. Even on some of my business pages, I get like shitty little comments, and I read them like, what did this get you? Like, I don't get it.
Well, welcome to the entertainment business. It's it can be brutal. I imagine what it must be like for even someone like Taylor Swift, being the most talked about recording artist in the world. I'm sure she has really bad days.
Oh, but, yeah, I believe it.
People can bag on me for my looks. I know I'm a big muppety looking motherfucker, but well, the music too. They can even bag on that. It's just it's not really up to me how the audience feels about it anyway. It's up to them. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, then and the same goes with what you do. Do something else. Change a channel.
Exactly. Let's go into it. It's like the perfect time because I have pulled up several videos. Some of them aren't like actual music videos because you don't have them, but I've got a few songs for you to review. And so I'll share my screen. We'll play some clips and let's see how it goes. How does that sound?
Okay, we're going to do a little music review then, eh?
Yes, let's do it. Cannibalized Seagulls.
Cannibalized. So they'll never open for a flock of seagulls, right?
They should.
they should. That would be like a good bill. A good bill.
It would be, I think, actually. So, oh my God. But then should they be ducks if they've got bills?
Yeah, seagulls don't really have bills per se, right? It's more of a beak situation.
Yeah, but it's okay. I think maybe we need another pigeon band or something. That's what I think. But we're going to share this tab and let's give it a go to see the seagulls. So this is Cannibalized Seagulls. Mm-hmm. So there's a little snippet.
Well, I gotta say, it's got a little bit of like heavy metal punk overtones. The interesting singer delivery.
Right.
I hear a good bit of angst in it as well. So you can always count me in on that.
There's a lot, and I think there's actually it gets a bit more through the song. I don't want to get us hit with copyright claims, so I'll just do little clips like that. But
right,
I'm obsessed with them though.
Yeah, I really love the bass sound on it. It's pretty amazing. Sounds like some wah and filter and just almost like a Lemmy Kilmister tone. Very aggressive.
Yes. And they like I say, they said, we're just 16, 18-year-olds. We're just a bunch of dumb fucking kids here in Dublin. And I was like, I love what you're doing. I really do. Most, and I think especially because most of these artists now, they're like, well, it's got to be perfect before I go out and play a show. But they were together 2 weeks and they did a show. It's crazy.
That's pretty amazing that they can do that much. And I'd like to add also that perfection is good. I mean, it's good to aim for, I guess, in a way. But today's music is so perfect. Don't be afraid to let it all hang out. Because I think that humans need a little bit of imperfection in order to know that it's human, So good on the cannibalized seagulls here. May they long cannibalize seagulls. I don't know.
Each other. Yes, I'll have to send you their other songs because I think they've got 3 or 4 out now. But I'm like, hey, in 6 months to have 3 singles out, incredible. I'm a fan.
Yes, me too.
Okay, so our next one is I've been posting about them, and they were actually on the podcast a few weeks back. So it's Brave Rival, and they're a UK kind of blues band. Now they've been around for about 5 years now. Well, that's what this song's called, is 5 years on, and it's their latest single. But I love them, and they keep getting nominated for all these blues awards around the UK. It's they're special. They're really good. So I'm gonna hit okay.
Gonna die on top of the world and be buried underneath it. Fly high and a bird, lose all my inhibitions. Let my secrets be, hide them away with a lock and key. Gonna die on top of the world and be buried underneath it.
So I'll let you give the first impression there, and then we're going to find the chorus, I think.
Okay, and who are they called again?
Brave Rival.
Brave Rival. Okay. Well, so far, I really dig the instrumentation and the female vocalist. I mean, I'm sort of getting a little bit of that Rossington Collins blues southern rock vibe, which I hope people would consider a compliment. But continue.
So let us have it. What are your thoughts?
Cool. Yeah. Good energy with when it kicks up into the chorus, kind of goes into that cut beat. I've always been a kind of a fan of this sort of sound, when the kind of stuff that I grew up with. So, hearing them kind of do a certain nod to some aspects of it, it's pretty refreshing. You don't really see a lot of that in America at the present. So, always
really?
like how the Brits are sort of always taking American music and redoing it in a way. So, yeah, good on them. Soulful.
Yeah, I really like them a lot, and they're just, I don't know. So now I've seen them a few times. I think I'd say live even better than the recordings, which is very nice. Sometimes you don't see that, but so it's nice when they are better live in some ways,
Well, that is a weird thing. Like, there are people that do prefer to hear live music as opposed to recordings, even going as far as to prefer listening to live recordings.
Yeah.
I've got a few friends like that, and they're kind of a special listener, really. Nobody listens to live recorded music hardly anymore at all.
No, that's true. You don't often get those live albums anymore either. It's kind of sad.
Yeah,
for some of them.
I like it when I see a recording artist play something and get to see it live on YouTube. It validates it even further, obviously.
The next one is a band called The Crown Remains, and this is their debut single, The Cloaked Facade. When they sent it to me originally, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And then, again, I'm like, wow, there's actually so much amazing music coming out in the UK. So
it certainly is. The Cloaked Facade.
Wretched bones, trying to hide the nails in your soul. The clock runs out, all these years you've had. It's time you let out the cloaked facade.
Okay. So just as we get into it, what do you think?
So far, I'm impressed. I love the a cappella beginning. It kind of set up a bit of tension. I didn't know what was going to happen, what to expect, and then the beat kicks in and the music sounds pretty promising.
That's my thought too. See, you just articulate it better. Okay, I'm gonna I'll fast forward a little bit. Let's see here. Go to a minute. Let's see what's up.
Insecurity allowing Friday, and then he slivered his way in, and thus our story of terror begins. Crawling away, wretched bones, trying to hide the nails in your soul. The clock runs out, all these years you've had. It's time you let out that cloak facade.
Interesting, it gives me a little bit of the kind of late 80s indie imported rock that we used to get over here in the States from British bands. There are some early alternative influences like Curve. It has a little bit of that. It also has a little bit of CBGBs in there. Like there is some punk ethic in it, but it's kind of mixing along with, like I said, some of the indie rock kind of sound from like the late 80s, which I loved because it was very luxurious and cool, you know.
Yes.
So yeah, this cool mix of influences they're kind of using there.
And yeah, I'm honestly, I'm so happy I found them, because I'm like, ooh, it's very cool. Very cool. Next, we have, so sorry, this is the only one that's not British, actually, but they're Canadian. And this, I had to put it in because, you know what, he's kind of amazing. Young kid. And I know you do love that kind of 80s goth everything, that kind of sound. And so I'm like, no, this just had to be there, had to be part of it. So
Yeah.
I'll give you Poltergeist, and this is Cold in September. Now I will say it's not their latest single, but okay, I need your first thoughts.
Oh, so far, so good. I'm loving the single note guitar lines, kind of gretchy and ethereal, but still kind of punk rock. Then you got that drum machine beat kicking in. It's got me going back to 1982 in a very good way.
Yes.
It almost has a little bit of Wall of Voodoo aspect to it, which I hope someone would consider a compliment, because I certainly loved Wall of Voodoo, but I love those kind of clean, almost surf-like guitar tones. So yeah, continue on.
So
Cool. Well, I got to say, it's kind of like an upbeat shoegaze kind of vibe, which is neat. I mean, and aesthetically, it's kind of really nailing a certain era in music that I love. So, interesting guitar work, and I like any voice that has character about it. You know, and this singer has a lot of character to his voice. So,
yes, I think now he's like 22, maybe, and I think he recorded and all of it himself, and he produced the whole thing. And he's got a band, but I think this track, I think he did it all himself. And I'm sorry, Kaylin, if I'm wrong, but it's like, those are amazing skills. Like, and I mean, he's been doing that since he was probably, I don't know, 14, right? And I'm always just blown away by what he does. I just think it's so cool.
Yeah, I like the vibe of that a lot. It's I can't tell you how many hours I kind of spent on that kind of sound. Really, just I love the kind of guitar work that you do with that sort of thing. So yeah, very well done. Especially to do it all yourself.
Got Offended. That's the band name. Don't worry, I'm not offended. But
what's the band name?
So they're Offended.
Oh, Offended. Okay.
Yeah. And so let's see, they actually have a music video up for this one that I'm going to do. So we'll check it out. This is Chasing Shadows. That was a big first segment. But what are your first thoughts then?
Well, yeah, I dig it. It kind of gives me it's kind of a weird way to put it, but like it's kind of druidy sounding hard rock, like
yes.
Like I could see it being played at a coven meeting amongst witches and stuff. Like,
yes,
it kind of gives me that vibe. Kind of scary, a little bit gothic, but also very hard rocking. So yeah, I mean, interesting sound all the way around.
I don't want to cut off a guitar solo, but I love it.
Cut off a guitar solo? How dare you?
Yeah. I know. It was cruel. I'm sorry. But he kind of...
Well, no, this is it's pretty cool. There's a little bit of like Deep Purple flavors in it as well. So...
And so if you listen to some of their other stuff, Maiden, 100%. I'm like, Offended should be opening for Maiden. Like, it's in everything, because I have both their albums and I'm like, I love them. They're so cool.
Yeah, I could hear that kind of the little bit of the galloping style of Maiden can be in there, and Deep Purple too. Like they all have their kind of gallop style,
and they have like the kind of epic long songs like Yes would, and
that's great too. Like not everything needs to be 2 minutes long.
No, it doesn't. Even though we know they are catchy, but
right, a 2-minute song, you can't beat it for catchiness. But if you want to take a little ride, an 8-minute song, I'll listen to one as long as it keeps my attention.
Yeah. And I mean, I think they've done that really well on some of their stuff too. Like, well, on all their longer ones, like they have 10, 14-minute songs, and you're listening to it and you're like, this is like, it's taking me on a journey. But it feels good. You don't, I can't deny if I'm driving for like 5 minutes, maybe I want to get in, a couple 2-minute songs, but I love listening to long epic stuff like that. It's so cool.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm an old prog rocker at heart too, so and plus I used to be lazy. I just didn't want to get up and change the record back when you would play vinyl records. Like, I'm going to listen to this song, but it's 15 minutes long. One of my favorite long songs of all time is Time Has Come Today by the Chambers Brothers. Oh. And I used to like listen to it on repeat and smoke weed because it gets really psychedelic at a certain point, and you're just like, yeah, man, or Iron Butterfly. People, Inagata Vita is a pretty long, epic one as well, but Stairway to Heaven was long enough.
That's true. That is true. It is pretty long. It is long enough.
But I never get bored with
like
it.
that though. No, and how could you? I'm glad that you've liked everything that I've pulled today.
Yeah, well, you've got your own taste that you're finding out the things that you like, and I'm really glad that you're sharing them with me. Because I always like to
Yes.
discover new bands and new music myself. So we'll have to continue this exercise or game, if you will, at another point. Review some more music.
Yes, I think we should do that. I think let's make it a thing. It's going to be a thing now.
It's going to be big with all the kids.
It is. And then, when we're ready, then we're going to put your music on here too. We're going to have a listening party maybe.
That's right. We could have it on the Discord or, any number of ways. Just sort of like having a little slumber party, except everybody's at home.
Sometimes that's better. Yeah. We'll have a slumber party, but you guys all stay home.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, you don't want to see my pajamas. They're kind of, I need a new set. So.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Then maybe you should go pick some up then.
When I get some new spiffy Hello Kitty pajamas, I'll be like, yeah.
See, now it's funny you say that because I did just get Hello Kitty pajamas from Primark, and I love them. I love Hello Kitty. I'm not gonna lie, I do. I love Hello Kitty.
Well, I must concur. I like them as well. So.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. So this has been very, very fun. I'm just really happy that you could be here today and sharing your knowledge, sharing your joy, sharing everything, your passion for music and truly for life. I think you have unlocked the power of not taking things too seriously, being happy, and just being comfortable being yourself, just being a total badass as a person. And I admire that.
Well, thank you so much for that. I'm only just like everyone else. You just want to live your life and give it your best. Try to keep the blues away. Whenever you feel down, just go outside and look around. Hey, that's some kind of psychedelic lyric, but I digress. I've really enjoyed you bringing me on, and I can't thank you enough for your support since we've become friends. And here's to more music and all good things artistic.
Yes. Arts for the win. Definitely. So if people are looking for you online, just online, where can they find you?
You can find my Patreon, which I think you'll list the link. If you want to become a supporter, every little bit helps. It all goes straight into music production and everything from merchandise to costs involved with making music for Sextus and whatever. Any of that really helps a lot. Because being an independent is its own game. You have to stay on top of it. So if you want to join there, that's I really appreciate it. And also have a Discord that you can link that I will be checking into from time to time and probably holding some listening parties at some point, probably before the release of my new Sextus record, which I won't drop the title right now, but you should be able to look for that really soon because it's already in the can. So,
and honestly, beyond excited for that to come out. Whole world's excited for it. And social media, I mean, you're not really like an Instagram kind of guy, but you're on there, right? If people want to follow along there.
I'm on Mobius. Mobius Fox is my Instagram. which if you want to list that as well, you can.
Yeah.
I'm open to talking to anyone. I'm also on Threads, which is the Instagram chat, whatever.
The same handle. Yeah.
Same handle. Anybody's welcome to send me a
Okay.
message on there. And then that's about it for right now until the new Sexus record's out. And then YouTube, I'll be, on there too, be moderating comments or whatever.
And you have the Sextus Facebook page too, yeah?
Oh yes, including Sextus.
Okay.
Sextus. I go in there and check it a little bit, but being as how there hasn't been any music out for a little while, I'm not on there all the time, but I will check messages, once a week or so. So yeah, send me a message there too. I appreciate anybody that's supported what I've been doing, and let's keep in touch, keep rocking together.
Yes, and I think it'll be good. We're going to get everybody lined up just so they're all ready for the new Sextus stuff to be released. It's going to be great.
And I'll sing my little heart out, like I'm doing an off-Broadway production of Annie. That sun will come out tomorrow. I won't wear the dress though.
Okay. What?
Okay,
Pop
maybe I will.
For like a special occasions, you can pull the dress out, right?
Yeah, for special occasions. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You've talked me into it.
Good. I'll give you a little gin first.
That ought to help matters.
Yep, I think so too. Well, then with that, I'm going to say thank you again so much for being here today, Eric. I'm very, very excited, as I have said like 900 times so far. So we will see you soon. We're going to review some more music, and it's all going to be delightful. Thank you again so much.
Thank you, Ashley. I bid you adieu.
Well, I bid you adieu. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast. If you're looking for more, head to healthymetalhippie.com and let's connect. Until next time, wishing you a magical week. See you later.